I'm about to take you guys on a little adventure. In this video, we are on a residential central air conditioning maintenance service call. This is a existing residential client, but a new air conditioning maintenance agreement client. We've never serviced their air conditioning before. And on this service call, I'm taking our fresh, with milk behind their ears, an apprentice that's been with us for about 4 weeks. So I already know the kind of comments I'm going to get, but just wait for the entire video before you comment with my closing comment at the end. Let's just say every day is an opportunity to learn something new. And I trust that Gio had that opportunity for the 2 hours we spent on 2 central air conditioning systems doing full PM maintenance on them. Doesn't matter what brand of systems you're working on, the same steps are utilized across every single brand. Here you go. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Thank you so much for tuning in. I am at my next service call. I'm here with Gio. Now, this is an existing residential client, but this is the first time that we are doing maintenance on their central air conditioning systems. I believe they only have 2 systems. We have this Goodman and we have this Amana. I believe both are made by the Daikin Group. I could be mistaken about that, but I'm pretty sure that's the case. This system right here, a lot of vegetation and mulch type of stuff on the inside of it. It's marked R410A. Let's see what else we got here. Here is that rating plate. We have a 36 in that number, or 30, so it's probably a 3-ton. But a lot of debris inside of there. And this Amana in this corner here. Same exact scenario. And that's probably the reason why we are now servicing, see, Daikin Group. That's probably the reason why we're now servicing them. Let me just walk the property and making sure that there's no other central systems here. I am here with my apprentice, Gio. We're gonna pull both disconnects, killing power to both units. We're going to take off the tops, and we're going to disconnect, the condenser fan motors from them. So we're going to show you step by step how to service your outdoor condensing units, and then we'll head on inside and do the same thing on the indoor units. Are you ready? Let's go. Gio, good technician, is observing their surroundings. Where does that disconnect panel go, Gio? No. Where does it go? Answer the question first.
Where does the disconnect go?
Yeah, you just will go into that disconnect, right? Really? Gio, I can't fix common sense, bro.
What you mean, where the disconnect goes into? That's obviously not the disconnect.
Obviously, why? Is that an air conditioning unit?
No.
What is it?
It's like some type of pump.
Yeah, it says irrigator. You were about to pull power to that, something that we're not here for. What happens, God forbid, you broke that, or the client now says, Mike, you were just here and now my irrigation pump isn't working, all right? We touched it last. You were about to touch something you have no business touching because you were not aware of your situation. Situational awareness. I said pull the disconnects for both outdoor AC units. Go do that. All right, before you do the next one, did anyone ever tell you how to properly pull a disconnect plug out of one? Okay, you're going to put your left hand, just don't fuck with the cover. Just put it, close it back down, right? Because if you take the cover off and when you hose these things off with the chemical and with water, you're gonna get water inside there. I noticed you did that on a prior service call. Leave the covers on, okay? And if you want, put the plug back in upside down. That way, it's not gonna get wet. Now, you're gonna put your left hand behind your back, preferably not touching anything. And with your right hand, you're going to take the cover off, you know, lift up that cover on the unit on the right, and then pull the disconnect out and reverse it and put it back in. And the reason for that, doing it that way, right, is God forbid there's an electrical short there, the current is going to travel up your right arm, down the right side of your body, and bypass your heart. Okay? Now you're going to take off the electric panel off this unit. You're going to make sure there's no power there, and then we're going to disconnect the wiring to the condenser fan motor. Guy's got a rabbit in his backyard. All right, listen, I'm walking that away. Let's see if there's any other air conditioning equipment here without stepping into the pool. I don't think we have any other air conditioning equipment here, just those 2 units. Let's see. No, we good. All right. We removed the electrical access cover, exposing the capacitor and contactor. Now that the power is unplugged, we're going to verify the power is off by using the voltmeter. He's got a non-contact tester and a voltmeter. I guess he's going to double check. Gio, we're checking for line voltage. Okay, that's the opposite side of the contactor. There's not going to be voltage there. Found anything?
No voltage. 0.020.
What's that?
0.0.
Okay, you check both lines of power?
Check the other side.
What's that?
Check the other side. 0.465.
Okay. Now identify the wires for the condenser fan motor, disconnect them from the leads from wherever they're connected to, and then we're going to remove all the screws on the top of this unit to get inside the unit. All right, we are going to disconnect the wiring, the leads or conductors for the condenser fan motor. I tasked Gio with reading the wiring schematic, which is here. And we have fine condenser fan motor, there it is. So we have purple, brown, and black. The purple wire goes up here. It looks like it goes to common on the dual capacitor. The black wire goes to brown. So the brown wire goes to fan on the dual capacitor, and the black wire goes up across. It looks like it goes to T2. Okay, so the purple wire he took off common, right? And then there's 2 black wires here. There's one here, which looks like it's going up. Yep, that's this one. So we'll take this off of there. Okay, so now we take that off to the side. You put that down somewhere, away from here. And now we expose the inside of the unit. You can tell that this system has not been maintained properly. It's full of vegetation. So, Gio is going to vacuum out the inside of the unit. I am going to get my leaf blower and blow out all the dust and debris here. And then we are going to chemically clean this coil with the new Calgon, new. All right, while Gio is cleaning and vacuuming out the bottom of that condensing unit, I got my new Calgon coil gun. This is their coil cleaner sprayer. And I got the new Bright. We're going to pour enough in here for both condensing units. And that should be about halfway up. And maybe a little 5/8 full. Perfect. This stuff is hazardous, folks. So make sure you're wearing your PPE when handling it. I'm going to take the nozzle off. We're going to screw back on the top. Now, I like the new Calgon coil gun. than others. It has a nice spray out of this little doodad right there. And there's multiple settings here for different ratios. So A, B, C, D, E, and 0. I normally set it on B for a mildly dirty coil. And there is the dilution chart. A is 3-to-1, B is 4-to-1, and C is 6-to-1, D 9-to-1, and E 10-to-1. So 25 ounces per gallon on setting B. And it works well, very well. I've been using this for many years. All right, while Gio is vacuuming out the inside of the unit, we're going to test the capacitor. I'm going to start by shorting it all out. Remove the yellow wire from that perm terminal set, the red wire from common. Now this capacitor, it's in the opposite direction so I can read it. So let me get a 5/16, loosen that up, and take a look at this dual capacitor. And a good rule of thumb is that when you're handling these and putting them back in, face them so you can read it. This is a 45/5. I have my multimeter to read capacitance. I got one terminal of my multimeter on fan, the other one on common, and we're getting an inconsistent reading here. One there. We get 8.3, and this is a 45/5. That's crazy. Let's try that again. So there's one there. There's another one there. 8.3. That's crazy. All right. So now we'll do Herm to common. And we get a 44. Now this capacitor is not in range. It's marked a 45/5, but it's reading 45/8. And that's not good, right? Let's just check the condenser fan motor and see what specification that needs. Maybe, just maybe, this is just mislabeled, maybe. So here is that condenser fan motor, and it needs a 5, see? Cap 5UF/370 VAC. It's an 1100 RPM motor. How many horsepower? I wasn't paying attention. Horsepower is a quarter. And we don't have any oil residue there, so those sealed bearings there are still good. But we do need a new 45/5 dual. Capacitor flip, nailed it. I got a Titan HD. This is a 45/5. We're just gonna double check that the compressor also needs a 45. And there it is. 45 run capacitor, 370. So my Titan HD, made in the US, is a 45/5, both 440 and 370. So this is going to replace that one. Now the dimensional size obviously is significant, right? Our new dual capacitor is significantly smaller in dimensional size than the existing one. And this one is made in, it's got to be made in China by Tongfeng Electronics. Man, it doesn't even say made in China in it, but you know it is. You know this bad boy's made in China. Not saying it, but it is. This one, made in the USA. God bless America. All right, I moved over the screw that was holding on this piece of band iron and secured the dual capacitor. I also took a Sharpie and put the date on it, and it's facing, the label's facing out. So the next guy who comes here is gonna know that it's a 45/5 and know that I put it in on April 24th, 2026. So now I have Gio working on the second unit. We already vacuumed out all the mulch and debris and growth and vegetation that was encompassing the entire base of this condensing unit. Before we get the chemical out with the hose and the water, let's clean this one out. That way we're gonna get everything wet once and deal with that in a little bit. I'm gonna reconnect our wiring. That red wire went to common. Make sure that's nice and snug, and if it's not, you may want to give it a little tug. That yellow wire was our compressor. That went there. And once we rinse this and after using the new cowl gun, we're gonna connect our wires back for a condenser fan motor and be good. So right now Giovanni is working on disconnecting the leads going to the condenser fan motor. That way he can take off the top and get the show on the road here. To give you a little bit of advice on the vegetation, it's best to like use like a 5-gallon bucket and scoop it out and put it into a bucket, because you're gonna constantly clog up your vacuum hose. And I say a 5-gallon bucket as opposed to dumping all the leaves and putting it outside the unit, because you know it's showing more care and concern for the customer's property, right? Take the garbage out and dump it somewhere, you know. All right, so let's scoop out all this this crap in here, and then you can vacuum out whatever's left, because otherwise, like I said, you're going to be constantly clogging up the vacuum, and you're just going to waste time. And as they say, time is money. All right, back to this first Goodman unit. Now that we installed a new dual capacitor and secured it and rehooked up our wires for our compressor, let's remove the wiring from the 24-volt coil off of the single pole contactor. And we're going to set our voltmeter to read resistance. I don't know if you can see that, but we're going to do one lead on there and the other on the other side, and we should be in the teens. And right now we are 17.8, so that's okay. Let's put back there and there, and give it a little tug, make sure it's secure there. And now we're going to get the blower and blow out all the dust and little small vegetation. What's your game plan, Gio? What's that? What do you got there?
40 and 5. 45.
Want to verbally speak what you're doing so we could share with others? What are you doing right now?
Checking the capacitor.
Okay.
See if it's good. So
Okay.
we're gonna go from.
So now, is this a single capacitor or dual capacitor?
This is a.
Gio, it has 3 sets of terminals on top. It's a dual capacitor. Okay. Right? A dual capacitor would be used for a condenser fan motor and for a compressor, for example, right? A single capacitor would have 2 sets of terminals on top of it. How many sets of wires how many wires are being utilized on this dual capacitor?
4.
There's 4 wires?
Right now 2, but there's usually 4 on it.
Okay, how many were on there before you took it apart?
There's 4 wires.
There's 4 wires? Okay, very good. Okay, so now test that capacitor. First of all, you can't test the capacitor with wires still connected to it, Gio. You should use a pair of needle nose to pull the wire, okay? Because you risk breaking the spade connectors off of it. But now, did you safely discharge that capacitor already?
No.
No? Okay. So you feel like getting zapped?
No? I'm not feeling getting zapped at all.
Okay. Well, it's probably discharged by now, but you know, you've been handling it, but I thought they taught you this in school.
It's been a long time.
Been a long time?
Yeah.
Okay. Test that dual capacitor. What is it rated for?
40 and 5.
40 over 5? Okay. So test. What are you testing? What sets of terminals are you going to be testing?
Fan to Herm.
Nope. Fan to common.
Fan to common.
Nope. Fan to common. Okay. What are you reading?
So that's
Okay, and what should it be?
5.
Okay, next. What are you going to test?
Comment to Herm.
Okay. What do you got?
40.3.
And what should it be?
45.
Should be 45?
It's plus or minus 6.
No, it's a 40
Oh, it's
over 5.
40.
Right, you would just cost the customer a dual capacitor because you just guessed wrong.
I mean, I was about to double check also.
Yeah, but you saw it moments ago. You can't. You need to be able to like. Okay, it's all right. Whatever. All right.
Always
So that's good, correct?
check. Yeah.
So put it back where it belongs. Put the wires back where they belong on it, and resecure that, and then blow out the electrical compartment, and then test the coil on the contactor for resistance. Gio, we have a comprehension problem, okay? Because I just said that you can't have wires connected to something as you test it, right? But you're not doing that. Take the wires off the contactor carefully, without breaking the leads or the spade connectors. And then test the resistance of that coil with nothing connected to it. All right, now we're gonna remove everything from the area that can't get wet, and then we're gonna pre-rinse both coils and wash the systems with the new Bright New Calgo. You're gonna take that with us. We're gonna pre-rinse the coils with some water. The hose is fully open. Gio, you should know that answer. You just opened it. We're going to pre-rinse both coils, the inside and the outside, with water. Now this is a single row coil. It's fairly easy to do this. Now there are drains at the bottom of the condensing unit. We want to try to clean those as well with the water pressure so it drains well. So that's that one. Let's go over to the next one. Same thing. We're going to rinse. Give it a nice bath of water. Hit the bottom. Loosen up any stubborn dirt that we didn't get before. Hit the outside. The grill as well. Now, let's get the chemical. For both units, if the coils were dirtier, we would be using a different setting, but they're not that bad. We're just gonna put this in there like that, and we're going to use this full amount on both coils. So you got to move quick. If you are clumsy or extra cautious or cautious at all, wear your PPE when doing this. So there's one. Let's get the other one done. If this was a double row coil, you're gonna have to spend a little more time getting in there. Now I'm gonna do a quick little hit on the outside of the cabinet, the outside of the coil. Same thing on this one. Now we're going to flip these things the other way around. Make sure those way. Give it a little, quick little bath with the new Calgon. Again, paying attention to the wiring. You don't want to get that wet, especially with this chemical. But it's acting as a little bit of a cleaner. There's that. There's a little bit left. Hit any areas on the outside that you didn't get already. A little bit left. Now there's a reason why we're spraying it from the inside out, and that's because as the condenser fan motor is running, the air is being brought from the outside in. So if we're going to do it this way, we're going to push more of that dirt inside the coil, and we don't want to do that. We want to push the dirt outside the coil. Kind of empty, right? Let's take that off. Okay, and this is the most important part. We have our nozzle, our tube, our container all filled with this chemical. That if you don't rinse this out properly, tomorrow when you go to use it, it's going to be completely clogged and you're going to have to throw it in the garbage. So what I do is I let this run for a few seconds. I dump it out. I'm going to do that again. This is very important. Very, very important. Okay, and one more time. And we're actually killing time. We're not milking the clock, billing the customer for more time. We're killing time because that coil cleaner that we have just applied to everything needs to soak in there. I am now going to set this to A, and I'm going to run it. And there's a little thing there, you can hold it in place. So we're just going to put this off to the side, and in a few minutes that's going to be empty, and then that is thoroughly rinsed. And then we will rinse off all this stuff. We'll get a little brush, we'll make this nice and clean, and we'll rinse out the coils. Good. Yeah, it's acid. So if you notice that this runoff of liquid, or this water, it's got like a little, like a tint of brownness to it. That's all the dirt that's coming off of these coils. And you're gonna see in just a few minutes how brown the water is gonna come out of this thing as we rinse it, as we rinse and clean of the chemical. You may want to put that back up right. Or hold it in your hand, so. We'll use a soft bristle brush and we'll clean off the fan blades on both condenser fan motors, clean off the top, and let the new bright do the rest. Now is the most important part of the job, and that is rinsing this chemical off. If you do not rinse it off completely, you will kill the coil. Not instantly, but you will kill the coil. And if you look down here between the grill, in between the grill and the coil, if you look down in between the grill and the coil, you will see how black this water is as we're rinsing all that dirt off of the coil. All right, so Gio, you're gonna do this now on both these units. And make sure you do not get any water in the electrical compartment. You're gonna make sure the base is clean and there's no dirt in there, or you can eat off of this thing. All yours. Have fun. All right, this air handler. Damn, it's immaculate. I'm gonna take some of these neutralizing tablets and then some spray. And I'm going to take the cap off and spray some in there as well. All right. Both condensing units are now clean. We're just finishing up the reassembly of the condensing fan motor assembly on top of both units. On my Goodman zip tie there. Put that back together. Our wires for common fan and Herm. Let's go see how Gio wired the dual capacitor. All right. The red wire he has going on Herm. Yeah, the red wire's on Herm. And the C has the purple and the yellow. So, good thing you have to check, double check, because that's wrong. So here is the wiring schematic for that. There's your H for hermetically sealed compressor, C is common, and fan is F. So H, Herm, C, common, F is fan. Fan is the brown wire. Herm gets a yellow wire, and common gets purple. So I don't know what method you use to keep track of what you're taking off so you can put them back on, but it's not working. So I would recommend you taking a picture of before you start taking off wires, because
That's what I usually do.
What? That's what you usually do, but you didn't do it now, so it doesn't really matter, right? What you usually do, are you pregnant or are you not pregnant? Well, maybe I'm pregnant. No, it's either yes or no. So if you usually do it, why didn't you do it this time? Right? Because if I sent you here by yourself and you caused permanent harm here, right? It would be your job, and it would cost me thousands of dollars to make it right. Right? There's no room for error in this career, in this profession, right? The wire's in the wrong spot. They even give you a diagram there to do it, right? But your fan is typically, stop moving things around. Your fan typically has 2 terminals on top for F, right? Your C is common, normally it has 4 terminals on top, and your Herm usually has 3. So now, if you follow the directions, right? Stop moving it, right? How about tighten up the screw so it stops moving around on me? Okay, so let's take everything off again. All right, you have a yellow wire. Where does the yellow wire go according to the wiring schematic?
Yellow wire. It goes to the compressor.
Let's go lower the thermostats in cool mode. All right. Let's lower this one. Wait for that click. There it is. All right, both thermostats are on. That unit is running. This one's not. I plugged in the disconnect, and nothing happened. Contactor's pulled in. So let's check for some shorts to ground. So power is disconnected. L1 to ground, 120 volts. L2 to ground, 120 volts. L1 to L2, 240 volts. Up here, L1 to ground, 120 volts. T1, that's T1 right there. T1 to ground, 120 volts. T2 to ground, 120 volts. T2 to T1, we get nothing. It's like this contactor is no bueno for some reason. Weird. And the coil is fine because we tested that. Interesting. Let's just do that a few times. Yellow. Alright. Weird. That's freaking weird. Now it's running. After just playing with that contactor a few times. So we're going to replace this contactor. I don't like that. No bueno. All right. This contactor is no bueno. So we're going to replace it. And it's live with 24 volts. So we're going to be careful. Taking it apart without blowing the fuse. So There is the terminal block for L2. Here's the terminal block for L1. Let's get this out of the way. Let's carefully move this out of the way. Like that. Let's get the new one on there. Does it need a loss? Out of the way. Let's connect that new 2-pole contactor. Taking out a 1-pole doesn't really matter. Putting in a 2-pole. We're not Polish, not a 2-person job. There's one there. And the other. Before we short out that 24-volt fuse in the air handler, let's reconnect that yellow wire to our 24-volt coil and that blue wire. And look at that, there you go, nice. That's a little loose. Let's tighten this up a little bit. Squeezing it down a little bit. There you go, nice and snug. Now on the bottom, we have these 2 incoming voltage leads. Let's loosen up that lug. Wow, the whole thing just popped out though, like that. See that? I swear, they don't make things like they used to. There's one of them. Let's do the other. There you go. So L1 and L2, which is line 1, L2. Line 1, line 2. That's nice and tight. Now we just have these on top. So one set goes there. And yes, it does matter. Put them back where they came from. You could reverse the reds and the blacks at the opposite sides, but you can't go vice versa. This one was a little loose. Crimp that down a little bit. Come on. Get back on there. There you go. Now, plug in that disconnect. There you have it. Easy peasy. That concludes this maintenance service call, which lasted 2 hours. The apprentice in this video has been with us for about 4 or almost 5 weeks. Started with us at the end of March. We are now at the end of April, and he generally is the helper for my other HVAC technician, Daniel, who's also my HVAC service manager, and James, who is my plumbing service manager, and sometimes with me. I am a little rough on my guys because I have high expectations. Okay, if you graduated trade school for HVAC, you should leave with the knowledge, wisdom, and comprehension of how to test certain electrical components of an HVAC system, like a capacitor or a contactor. Should not be my responsibility to teach that. But this one will be on me. I know I'm going to get some comments, some criticism that I'm a little rough on the guy, but if you are wearing panties, maybe the trades is not for you. Enough said. Thank you for watching. Smash that thumbs up button and subscribe if you haven't done so already. That's the best way you can support me, my business, and this channel. Thank you again. Be well. God bless. Stay safe.